Hi everyone, my name is Veera Grewal. I'm a registered clinical counselor. Welcome to the Back to School Mental Health series. This is a 4-part series and we are going to be starting off on discussing how to manage fear and anxiety. So let's start by discussing the impact that COVID-19 has had on our mental health. So through our need to have to quarantine, socially distance ourselves, separate ourselves from vulnerable loved ones, we are going directly against our human need for social connection and for touch. And this is, for most people, for all of us, because this is natural to us, it is a huge source of safety and calm for us. So there is an increase of COVID-19 information out there. If you are watching the news, you'll notice that it's pretty much every hour there's something new, or there's a new report about it, there's a new article about it, on multiple different platforms. So just being exposed to that much information, it makes it really hard for us to set boundaries and to separate ourselves and our lives from COVID-19. People who have experienced anxiety or mental health challenges pre-COVID-19 may especially find this time challenging, because COVID-19 is a huge trigger given its confusion and uncertainty. And confusion and uncertainty is in all of us, because as cases every day increase, we are still continuing to reopen society, reopen facilities, return to pre-COVID operations. So it's a very confusing time. So there's a recent study done on the impact of COVID on mental health. And so they found, Torres et al., that was the researcher, found that people are experiencing a loss of freedom, grief, anger, anxiety, stress, depressive symptoms, insomnia, and denial. These are just some of the things that I'm sure you may have been experiencing. What's interesting is all of these symptoms are the same symptoms that we also experience when we are faced with any other situation that is outside of our control. So, for example, a death of a loved one, a natural disaster, etc. So while we each have a unique and valid experience of how we've personally been dealing with the impact of COVID-19, there is a significant commonality among all of us that relates to how our body responds to stress and anxiety. And that is the fight, flight, or freeze response. So when all of us are faced with a either real or perceived threat or danger, such as an external situation outside of our control, we can become overwhelmed. And that overwhelm can trigger this response. And so the fight, flight, or freeze response is an evolutionary adaptive survival strategy that we've inherited through evolution. And so if you watch wildlife videos or the Animal Channel or whatever, you'll see that all animals, including us, have this response. So what happens when this response is activated, we experience physiological symptoms such as increased heart rate, shallow breathing. Our peripheral vision gets better, our hearing gets better, which is interesting. It's in line with this being a survival strategy to protect us from danger. So in addition to the physiological changes, you will also notice that your limbic system gets activated. And so that's the right side of our brain, often called the emotional part of the brain. And because this is kind of an overdrive, it shuts off our left part of the brain. The left part of the brain is commonly regarded as the cognitive or like logical part of our brain. So that basically shuts down and our emotions are heightened, it goes into overdrive. So let's go through what actually, how this response shows up in our lives. So if we are in the flight response, we may notice that we're experiencing panic, anxiety, worry, avoidance. So we're using our energy to run away from something. If we are in the fight response, we may be experiencing rage, anger, frustration, aggression. So we're trying to actually fight something. We're trying to fight the threat. And freeze is basically what happens when the threat becomes so overwhelming that our body just can't handle it and just shuts down. So here we'll notice numbness, dissociation, which is basically zoning out, checking out. Yeah, so we're kind of in a shutdown. Also depression. So freeze is a state of hypoarousal, which means there's not enough energy in our bodies. And fight and flight are both a state of hyperarousal, which means there's too much energy in our bodies. So let's talk about the window of tolerance, which is a middle ground between these two extremes. So it's between fight and flight, where we have too much energy, our body is too activated, and freeze, where our body is just, we're in a shutdown, we don't have any energy. And so the window of tolerance is our middle ground between these extremes. It's a physiological, regulated, and calm state where we are able to optimally be present, form connections with others, and regulate our emotions. So today, we are going to be giving you a couple of tangible tools that you can use to bring yourself back into your window of tolerance if you're experiencing these heightened emotions or a fight, freeze, or flight response. So the first one, we wanted to talk about maintaining social connections. And this is so important because it establishes a sense of safety in our bodies and it cues relaxation. So you want to establish and regularly connect with your social bubble. Use technology, take advantage of it through Zoom meetings, video calls, Facebook groups, text, however you can use it to continue connecting with others. Now is the best time to do that. Maintain eye contact and just say hello to strangers. So this is a time where I think before COVID, we were already feeling a bit disconnected from others, just walking around, because it's not as accepted to kind of walk up to a stranger and start talking to them. So especially when we're walking around with masks on, just by maintaining eye contact with someone and just saying hello, it can really elevate your mood and make you feel safe, make you feel connected. And the last one, if you are finding it challenging to maintain social connections, connect with yourself. So there is a lot of information out there on mirror work or positive self-affirmations. And basically it's just as you're brushing your teeth in the morning, looking in the mirror at yourself, maintaining eye contact, saying I love you, saying I'm here for you. And I know it sounds silly, but it really does work. And this is so important because our relationships with ourselves basically predicts and sets the, it just sets the stage for our relationships with everyone else around us. So the next one up, we are going to be talking about mindfulness, so living in the present moment. So mindfulness originated in Asia, so India and China, 1500 years ago. So this is ancient knowledge that really we're only now starting to use. And basically it's about maintaining an awareness of the present moment with compassion, acceptance, and curiosity. So now that it's become mainstream, like yoga and meditation, research has found that mindfulness really does reduce stress, depression, and anxiety. And also it's associated with increased brain growth in areas of the brain associated with motion regulation, learning, and memory. So that's pretty amazing. And there's proof out there that it works. So how do you start being more mindful in your life? So this is an easy, simple exercise that I found to be pretty effective for people when you are in a state of anxiety, because it really brings you back to the present moment through your senses. So let's do this here. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. What you're going to do is you're going to basically get yourself relaxed in your seat, and you're going to look around the room, and you are going to say out loud or say in your head 5 things that you see around you. It can be a color, item, whatever. So take a few minutes to notice what you see around you. And next, you're going to take a few minutes to really look out for 4 things that you can feel around you. So it can be your seat, it can be your clothing on your body, anything that you can feel around you. You might even want to reach out to touch an item. And once you've done that, you are going to list 3 things that you can hear around you. So for me, the sound of my own voice, the fan, the silence. 2 things that you can smell around you. And the last one is 1 thing that you can taste. So for me, it's my tea I had this morning. So after having done this exercise now quickly, just take a mental note of how you are feeling in terms of the amount of calm or anxiety in your body. And this is something that you can use anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, and you don't have to use all the senses. You can use one that you are most inclined to. So for me, it's hearing. You could do this while you're walking outside. You can do this if you get into an argument with someone and you're feeling really activated. Yeah, so that's one way to be more mindful. We aren't going to go through these 3 other ways to be mindful, but we are going to post a handout that talks about how to be mindful through the body scan, meditation, and mindful journaling. So stay tuned for that. Next, let's talk about deep diaphragmatic belly breathing. So by doing this, by taking these deep belly breaths, we are restoring safety back into our bodies, and this directly counteracts the fight, flight, or freeze response. So most of us, when we are in a state of anxiety or have experienced chronic stress, we are breathing through our chests. And the reason why breathing through your chest can maintain anxiety is because you are really using muscles in your chest, shoulders, and neck to breathe. And that's taking up more energy, and that's what can maintain anxiety. So instead, what you can do is belly breathe. And by doing that, you're promoting a state of relaxation in your body because you're only using one muscle, and that's your diaphragm to breathe. So let's quickly practice this here. So what you're going to do is you're going to place 1 hand on your chest, and you're going to place 1 hand on your belly, and you may want to put 2 feet on the floor just so you really feel the full effect of it. And so as you breathe in, you are going to visualize the breath going all the way down to the bottom of your stomach. And as you inhale, you're going to imagine that in your stomach there's a balloon. So your belly is going to just expand and move up as you breathe in. And then when you exhale, your stomach is going to go in. So let's just try this. Let's just try one deep breath. So we're going to breathe in. So if you do that 3 times, if you're in a state of anxiety, you will notice your body start to calm down, and that is going to signal for your mind, hey, I'm feeling safe right now. You know, it's going to trick your mind and kind of slow down those anxious thoughts because your body is starting to feel more calm. And so you can even do this in public. You don't have to close your eyes. You can just put one hand on your stomach and just take 3 deep breaths, and that can be enough sometimes. So that's a great tool that you can use, and you can teach to other people, maybe your kids. Progressive muscle relaxation is another one that we'll talk about. You may not get time to try it, but over time, when we are experiencing chronic stress or anxiety, we actually start to carry that within our bodies. That stress stays in our bodies without us being conscious of it. We don't even realize that we're stressed. We don't even realize that there's tension in our body because we almost start to get used to it. So progressive muscle relaxation involves tensing and relaxing different muscle groups in your body so that we are teaching our body and trying to get it to remember what relaxation feels like again. And then we can start to become more aware of when we are carrying tension in our bodies. So how you do this is you are going to focus on the muscle group that you want to use. So, or you want to target. So for us, we could do a fist, or sorry, the muscles in our hands. And as you inhale and take a deep breath, at the same time, you're going to tighten the muscles in your hand. So you're going to inhale and tighten, and you're going to focus on that tension. And when you exhale, you're going to release the tension. And so what you're doing is you are intentionally focusing on the change in the body sensation of your muscles feeling tense and relaxed. And so you can actually do this with your whole body. We're going to post something on the website that gives you instructions to do your entire body. I would say the best place to try this is before you go to sleep. If you're having trouble sleeping, this is a really great resource that you can use. And if you just go on YouTube, there is a lot of guided meditations on muscle relaxation. So that is something that you may find helpful to try. So next, we are going to talk about cognitive reframing. So only once we feel emotionally and physically calm, so our right brain has calmed down, it's back to kind of our optimal state, we can begin to work with our left part of our brain, so our prefrontal cortex or the logical part of our brain, to restore calm in our bodies and our minds and maintain that. So here are some interesting facts for you. So 80% of our daily thoughts are negative and irrational, and 85% of what we worry about never comes true. So those 2 facts for me really kind of highlight that we have the power to challenge and to reframe our thoughts, to be more balanced, to be more realistic, to prevent our thoughts from causing and maintaining our distress. And this is really what is within our control. And these things are important to recognize when we're faced with something that's outside of our control, like COVID. So let's practice doing this. So let's say, well, what you're going to do is you are going to have in your mind one thought that is causing you the most distress or anxiety right now. So keep that thought in your mind. And you're going to ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? And you're going to ask, is it about a present moment event, or is it about the past or the future? Both situations, past and future, we cannot control. So it's good for you to kind of really recognize, what is that thought about? Is it about the past, future, or present? Is this thought incorporating one perspective or multiple perspectives? Is this something that I would say to someone who I love or care about when they are in distress? Would you say this to your best friend? And how can I reframe this thought to eliminate its emotional charge? So here's an example. So let's say my thought that is really causing a lot of distress and anxiety in my life is, this is the worst year of my life, and I will not recover from the impact of COVID-19. So I can already feel in my body that's, you know, what kind of a negative impact emotionally that has on me. And that thought is valid. Parts of it is valid. This has been a challenging year. So part of what is not true is that I will not recover, because that is a future event, and I can't see into the future. So I don't know if I will recover or not. And, you know, anyway, sorry, let me just tell you my reframed thought. Let's start with there. So let's say I change that thought to a more realistic thought. So this year has been full of challenges and uncertainty. That is true. But I have been and will continue to be resilient. That's also true. And the impact of COVID-19 has taught me the importance of health and social connections. So if that's my thought, I mean, I feel validated. I'm not ignoring the challenges of this year. I feel motivated because I'm telling myself I'm resilient. And a part of me feels grateful because it has taught me the value of health and social connections. So that's cognitive reframing, and we're going to post a handout that kind of, it gives you a little bit of a structure to how you can do this. And so lastly, just wanted to give you, that's pretty much it for our tools today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I really hope that some of this was useful to you. Please stay tuned for the handouts that we're going to have on the website. And remember, even if you just try one of these practices, or maybe this presentation has inspired you to look for other options that may work for you, that's all that matters. We're really focusing on one degree of change. So even if you try one thing, you know, once a week, that's enough. Yeah. So final thing, we just wanted to give you a heads up that over this fall, we're gonna have out 3 more webinars. So the next one will be on tools that you can use to support children. The one following that will be on caring for yourself and building resilience. The last one, which I hope you'll find interesting, is what is counseling really like, and how can it benefit you? So yes, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much again for taking the time to join us, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.